Hello and welcome to an episode of Space Update. This week we're doing a bit of a rewind episode with our chat with Rocket Lab. Let's get straight to it.
Yeah, this is of course really the first big challenge that we're working through, and all of the investment, all the engineering to deliver on Capstone then is being leveraged for Escapade. So at a high level, we're providing a launch service to the Capstone mission. So there's a spacecraft that NASA has funded, and they want to put that on the trajectory to the moon. And so that's the mission that we've signed up to, is to put their spacecraft on a translunar injection. But to do that with a small rocket, the approach is very different than when you use a large rocket. And so we basically need to use a full Photon satellite to execute our mission concept over a series of about 8 days. And what we do is we launch into low Earth orbit, and we slowly raise apogee while doing orbit determination and calibrating the propulsion system, so that when we execute that final burn, we very precisely target the lunar trajectory. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're trying to do. Of course, the mission is super important because more broadly it's about demonstrating communications and navigation technologies in the near rectilinear halo orbit in support of the Artemis program. And of course, super cool to be the very first launch of the Artemis program. And so we're doing our best to get that mission to the launch pad and then build on those capabilities with future opportunities.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. And you were actually talking about the burns on orbit. Will this bus use bipropellant, and will it be the first time with bipropellant?
No, we fly bipropellant regularly today with the Curie engine. The Curie engine is cool because it can operate in monopropellant mode as well, and so that's a really nice flexibility. But the Capstone engine, the HyperCurie, is a bipropellant engine. What's different about it from Curie is that instead of being pressure fed, it's actually pump fed. So we didn't talk that much about Electron or the Rutherford engine, which is an electric pump driven LOX-Caro system, but we were inspired by that with HyperCurie to develop that same kind of concept. So we're using electric pumps to feed the propellant into the engine, and so that's basically the idea behind HyperCurie.
Nice. So the Cube satellite will share the same orbit as Gateway once operational. Will the satellite be destroyed, or will NASA continue its operation with this satellite?
That's a great question. I don't know what the kind of long-term plans for that satellite are. I detect that they're putting as much propellant in it as they can to offer residual capability. But every spacecraft that launches in general and in particular for NASA missions has to have an end-of-life disposal plan. And so I expect that once they meet their tech objectives and squeeze every bit of capability out of the mission, that they'll properly dispose of the spacecraft so that it doesn't represent a hazard to future missions. And that's actually what we plan also to do. So we'll be on the same translunar injection and lunar transfer that the payload is on. And so we'll take advantage of that to try to do a lunar flyby and basically shake out the deep space capabilities that we want to then use on Escapade and other missions in a lunar flyby. And so we'll fly by the moon and actually come back to Earth and dispose in the Earth's atmosphere. So the Capstone spacecraft will probably do something similar to that, either dispose at the moon or into heliocentric space.
Watching the playback from the launch earlier on this morning, we saw Peter hint at that he might want to potentially send Photon to asteroids in the near future. Obviously, maybe not discuss that too much internally. Peter just recently mentioned that he might potentially want to do that, so won't press you too much on that one. But obviously, Peter's a big fan of sending something to Venus. I feel like it's been one of the most neglected planets, because obviously Mars has had a lot of attention, the Moon's getting a lot of attention, obviously with the Moon landings in the near future and everything. Rocket Lab are focused on sending something there. Can you tell us a little bit more on this as of yet, or is it still very much in the planning and research stage?
Yeah, for sure. I will, touch on asteroids for a second, because I happen to really like asteroids, and you may be familiar with the decadal survey, which is ongoing with the national academies, and we think that dedicated small launch with Electron and small satellites with Photon will be a really important tool for those asteroid missions, and potentially even interstellar object missions. And so we did some really cool mission design work to look at, can we get a spacecraft close to one of these objects?
And that's just our brief chat with Rocket Lab on Capstone and so much more. If you want to watch the full thing, click on the link at the end of the episode, give the video a like, and hit that subscribe button. Catch you next week.